Chapter 1: The Power of Thinking Big. Welcome to the magic of thinking big. This audiobook is designed to transform your mindset, habits, and approach to life. Each chapter will provide practical strategies, inspiring stories, and actionable steps that can propel you ahead of 99% of people. As you listen, remember, knowledge alone isn't enough. Action is the key to achievement. Take a deep breath. Open your mind. Let's begin. Have you ever noticed how most people settle for small lives, small dreams, and small victories? Imagine for a moment the life you would live if you refused to accept anything less than extraordinary. Most people assume greatness is reserved for the lucky, the talented, or the fortunate. But here's the truth. Greatness starts in the mind. Your thoughts, as simple as they may seem, are the seeds of your future. What you think, you become. What you imagine, you achieve. There was a man named Arthur who worked a modest job in a city where dreams were whispered but rarely acted upon. He watched people around him live cautiously, afraid to stretch themselves, to step beyond the invisible lines of comfort. One day, frustrated with the monotony of his life, he asked himself a single question: what if I thought bigger than everyone else? That question changed everything. Thinking big isn't about ego or arrogance. It's about daring to imagine possibilities others dismiss. It's about creating visions of your life so vivid that they pull you forward. Every time Arthur chose a bigger thought, he noticed a subtle shift. Opportunities began to appear where once there were none. Challenges felt smaller because his vision was larger than any obstacle. And the magic of thinking big is that it multiplies your confidence and sharpens your decisions. Here's a truth many never understand. Small thinking is self-fulfilling. If you tell yourself, "I can't," or "this is too difficult," you set invisible barriers. But when you choose to think big, every decision, every step, is infused with possibility. The world may doubt you, friends may scoff, and family may caution you. That's exactly when you must persist. Great thinkers weren't applauded from the start. They were ridiculed, tested, and often ignored. Arthur's first act of thinking big was simple. He wrote down a goal so daring it felt impossible. He wanted not just a promotion, but to start a business that could impact thousands. Most people would have hesitated, but Arthur reminded himself daily, big thinking leads to big actions. Each day, he did one thing that terrified him slightly. Making a bold call, pitching an audacious idea, learning a new skill. Every small act, inspired by big thinking, compounded into results. Let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, am I living small because it feels safe, or am I living small because I've never dared to think bigger? Your answer reveals where your life is being limited, not by circumstance, but by the scale of your thoughts. And here's the exciting part. You can change that today. Start with one bold vision, one audacious goal, and one commitment to act as if your dreams are inevitable. Big thinkers understand that failure is not a verdict, it's feedback. Arthur faced setbacks. Doors slammed in his face, and opportunities fell through. But instead of retreating, he asked, "What can I learn? How can I grow?" Each setback became a stepping stone, each rejection a lesson, each failure a reminder that his vision was bigger than the temporary obstacle. The magic of thinking big is not wishful daydreaming. It is intentional mental practice. Imagine your goals as if they are already true. Visualize the life you desire in exact detail. Feel the emotions of achievement. Let this vision guide your actions, even when circumstances tempt you to doubt. Remember, the size of your thinking sets the trajectory of your life. By the time Arthur realized it, the person he had become was far greater than the person he once was. Opportunities multiplied because he dared to imagine them. Confidence grew because he refused to limit himself. And what he achieved was not just a reflection of talent, but of courage. The courage to think big, to imagine what others couldn't see, and to act relentlessly toward it. Take a deep breath and consider this. What would your life look like if you removed all limitations from your thinking? How would you act if failure was simply a signpost, not a stopping point? The first step toward extraordinary achievement is a single decision: to think bigger than you ever have before. And here's a secret few realize: thinking big is contagious. As you expand your vision, others are drawn to your energy, your confidence, your momentum. Opportunities you never imagined will come to you, not because the world owes you anything, but because your mindset signals readiness. The universe responds to boldness. Small thinkers wait, big thinkers act. Arthur's journey had only begun. Every chapter of his life from here on out was shaped by one principle: to reach extraordinary heights, you must first think extraordinary thoughts. And now, it's your turn. Start thinking big, act boldly, and watch as the impossible becomes possible. Chapter 2. Believe you can win and you will. Have you ever noticed that the most successful people rarely talk about luck? They don't rely on chance or hope that things will somehow work out. Their secret isn't complicated. It's belief. Belief in themselves, belief in their vision, and belief that no obstacle is permanent. Belief is the engine of achievement. Consider the story of Clara, a young woman working in a company that undervalued her potential. She was often overlooked for promotions and her ideas dismissed. Yet she refused to let her circumstances define her. Every morning, she reminded herself, "I am capable. I will succeed. I am meant to achieve more than this." That simple affirmation was the spark that lit the fire of her big thinking. Belief is different from blind optimism. It's not about wishful thinking. It's about confidence rooted in preparation and action. Clara didn't just believe, she acted. She learned new skills, took on challenges that intimidated her, and sought out mentors who could guide her. Every action reinforced her belief, and every challenge she faced became a proof point. Yes, I can. Here's a question for you. Do you truly believe you can achieve your biggest goals, or do you secretly doubt yourself? That doubt is a silent saboteur. It stops you from taking risks, from speaking up, and from chasing opportunities. But belief can silence that doubt. When you believe, hesitation fades. Fear becomes a signal, not a barrier. And doors that once seemed closed begin to open. One of the most powerful examples of belief in action comes from sports. Athletes who win at the highest levels often credit their victories not just to talent or training, but to unshakable belief. They visualize success, rehearse every scenario in their minds, and refuse to accept defeat even before the competition begins. In essence, their minds have already won before their bodies take action. Clara's belief transformed her career. She started to propose bold initiatives, mentor colleagues, and tackle projects that others avoided. People began to notice her confidence and her results. Soon, she was offered a leadership position she had once thought impossible. Her belief didn't magically create success. It created action, perseverance, and results that made success inevitable. Here's a subhook to think about. If you could achieve any goal without fear of failure, what would it be? Your answer reveals the true scale of your potential. Most people never explore this question. They settle for comfort and routine. But the truth is, extraordinary success comes to those willing to embrace belief and act on it, even when fear whispers, "You can't." Belief is contagious too. When you exude confidence, people are drawn to you. Opportunities appear in ways you cannot predict. Investors, partners, friends, and mentors notice someone who believes in their own potential. They respond to energy and commitment. This is why believing in yourself isn't just internal. It's a magnet for the external world. Here's a practical step. Write down 3 goals that feel daring. Then, for each goal, write a statement of belief, something like, "I am fully capable of achieving this. I will overcome obstacles and persist until it is accomplished." Read these statements daily. Let them sink in. Let them reshape your mental boundaries. Belief also changes your approach to failure. When Clara encountered setbacks, she didn't see them as proof she was incapable. She saw them as data, guiding her toward a better strategy. Belief gives you resilience. It allows you to take risks, to rise after falling, and to continue when others quit. Now ask yourself another question. Who would I become if I never doubted myself? Imagine the confidence, the decisiveness, the momentum. That's the person you are capable of being when you combine belief with action. The magic of thinking big isn't just imagining possibilities. It's believing in them so fully that they begin to manifest. Belief fuels action. Action creates results. Results reinforce belief. It's a cycle, a self-sustaining loop that propels ordinary people into extraordinary lives. Clara's journey was far from over, but her unwavering belief had already transformed her. She no longer waited for permission, validation, or luck. She acted boldly, pursued opportunities relentlessly, and trusted that the universe would respond to her commitment. The question is, will you do the same? Will you believe so fully that your mind, your actions, and your results align with the life you imagine? Or will you let doubt and hesitation hold you back? The choice is yours, but remember, belief is the first step toward winning. Without it, action is directionless, and dreams remain dreams. Chapter 3. Cure yourself of fear and take bold action. Fear is the silent thief of dreams. It creeps into our minds, whispering doubts, magnifying risks, and convincing us that small, safe choices are the only way to survive. But here's a question. What if fear wasn't a signal to retreat, but a guide to growth? What if the very thing that scares you most is the path to your biggest breakthroughs? Take the story of Marcus, a young entrepreneur who dreamed of launching his own business. Every time he considered taking the leap, fear gripped him. What if I fail? He would ask. What if people laugh? What if I lose everything? Those questions haunted him for months. But Marcus realized something critical. Fear was not the enemy. It was a compass pointing toward opportunity. Fear is universal. Every successful person you admire has faced it. They felt the same racing heart, the same hesitation, the same uncertainty. The difference is that they acted despite it. Bold action doesn't require the absence of fear. It requires persistence in the presence of fear. Think about this. If fear disappears before action, you're probably aiming too low. The things that excite and scare you simultaneously are exactly where growth lives. Marcus started small. He set daily micro-goals that pushed him just beyond his comfort zone. Calling potential investors terrified him, but he forced himself to make the first call, then the second, then the third. Presenting his ideas in public scared him, but each presentation built confidence. Over time, what was once terrifying became manageable, then familiar, and eventually exhilarating. Here's a subhook for reflection. What fear is holding you back right now, and what would happen if you faced it today? Answer honestly, because the life you dream of is often on the other side of that fear. Most people shrink from fear, settling for mediocrity. Big thinkers, however, understand that courage is learned, practiced, and repeated. Another key principle Marcus discovered: action breeds confidence, not the other way around. Many wait until they feel ready, but readiness is an illusion. You don't become fearless by avoiding challenges. You become fearless by confronting them repeatedly. Each bold step expands your comfort zone, reshaping your beliefs about what is possible. Let's consider fear in another form. Fear of criticism. Most people avoid action because they worry about what others will think. Marcus realized the truth. The opinions of others only have power if you grant them power. When you focus on your vision and your actions, external judgment becomes irrelevant. Bold thinkers act, regardless of applause or criticism. Here's a practical strategy. List 3 actions you've avoided because of fear. Next to each, write the worst-case scenario and then the best possible outcome. Often, you'll see that the worst case isn't as catastrophic as your mind imagines, and the best case is life-changing. Then, Take the first step. Small, intentional, unavoidable. Momentum grows from action, not contemplation. Fear also masks opportunity. Marcus noticed that every time he hesitated, competitors who acted boldly moved ahead. Opportunities favor the brave. Waiting for perfection or certainty ensures stagnation. The courage to act creates a chain reaction. Each decision builds skill, knowledge, and resilience. Bold action is a magnet for progress. Ask yourself this: what's one bold action I can take today that moves me closer to my biggest goal? Start there. It might feel uncomfortable, awkward, or even terrifying, but discomfort is a sign you're growing. The magic happens when fear meets action, and the moment you act, fear loses its grip. Marcus's business grew not because he avoided fear, but because he confronted it relentlessly. Investors, challenges, and setbacks didn't stop him, they shaped him. Each courageous step reinforced the belief that he could succeed, and each success, no matter how small, diminished fear's power further. Here's the lesson: fear is inevitable, but paralysis is optional. Thinking big requires courage, and courage requires action. You don't wait for fear to vanish, you act in spite of it. The more you practice this, the stronger your momentum, the faster your dreams manifest. Remember, bold action transforms fear into fuel. Fear signals where opportunity lives. Courage is a habit, developed through repeated action. If you take nothing else from this chapter, take this: the life you desire exists on the other side of fear. Take the first step today, no matter how small, and let momentum carry you forward. Chapter 4. Set clear goals and build winning habits. Dreaming big is exhilarating, but dreams without direction are like a ship without a compass, adrift, vulnerable to every current and storm. The magic of thinking big becomes real only when your vision is paired with clarity and consistent action. That's where goals and habits come in. They turn ideas into results and aspirations into reality. Take the story of Lena, a young professional with enormous potential but no sense of direction. She admired successful people, envied their accomplishments, yet felt stuck. Every day felt repetitive, unremarkable, and frustrating. Then, she discovered the transformative power of clear goals. Not vague wishes like, "I want to be successful," but concrete, measurable objectives, revenue targets, skill milestones, and personal growth markers. Suddenly, her life had focus. Every decision had purpose. Setting clear goals is not just about ambition, it's about precision. Your brain responds to clarity. When you define exactly what you want, your mind begins to identify opportunities, solutions, and shortcuts. Ambiguity leads to procrastination. Specificity sparks action. Lena wrote down her goals, assigned timelines, and visualized the steps needed to achieve each. Within months, she noticed her energy shift. Each day felt purposeful, and her productivity soared. Now, goals alone aren't enough. Success comes from the daily habits that reinforce those goals. Small, repeated actions compound over time, creating exponential results. Lena started a morning routine that aligned with her objectives, reading industry insights, practicing skills, and reviewing her targets. What seemed minor at first became the foundation of her success. Here's a question to ask yourself: what daily actions could I take that, if repeated consistently, would radically improve my life in the next year? Most people overlook this because they seek instant results. But the magic of thinking big lies in patience, discipline, and incremental progress. Every small habit is a vote for the person you are becoming. Consider this principle: you are the average of your daily routines. Your environment, your choices, and your habits shape your outcomes more than talent or luck ever could. Lena understood this and intentionally cultivated habits that supported her goals. She avoided time-wasting activities, sought knowledge relentlessly, and surrounded herself with people who inspired growth. Habit by habit, she constructed a life that mirrored her vision. Another subhook to reflect on: what habit could I start today that my future self would thank me for? Identify it, commit to it, and let it become non-negotiable. Success is not an event, it's a series of consistent actions repeated over time. Big thinkers understand this secret and treat their habits as sacred tools of transformation. Lena also applied the principle of writing goals in a visible, tangible format. She created a vision board, journaled her progress, and revisited her goals weekly. These practices strengthened focus, provided accountability, and fueled motivation. When challenges arose, she could see the bigger picture clearly and recalibrate, rather than giving in to discouragement. A key insight: habits create momentum. When you act consistently, momentum builds almost automatically. The more momentum you have, the easier it becomes to take bigger steps. Lena noticed that once her daily routines were established, opportunities she never expected began to manifest. People reached out, doors opened, and her confidence grew alongside her achievements. Goals also provide a measuring stick. Without them, it's easy to drift, become distracted, or settle for mediocrity. When you have clear targets, every choice is evaluated through the lens of progress. Big thinkers don't wander, they advance with intention. They focus energy where it counts and ignore distractions that don't align with their vision. Here's a practical step: write down 3 ambitious goals and the daily habits that will support each. Identify small, manageable actions you can do consistently. Then commit to them with a mindset that these actions are non-negotiable. Even on tough days, persistence compounds results. Lena's journey shows a vital truth: thinking big without structure is wishful. Thinking big with clear goals and disciplined habits is unstoppable. She didn't wait for luck, motivation, or the perfect moment. She designed her life intentionally, and the results followed. Now pause for reflection. If I structured my days around my biggest goals, what could I accomplish in 6 months? In a year? The answers are not hypothetical. They are waiting to be realized the moment you act. Goals and habits are the bridges between imagination and achievement. Build them wisely, act consistently, and the life you imagine will become the life you live. Chapter 5. Think and dream creatively. Most people accept the world as it is. They follow the path laid before them, constrained by routines, rules, and the limits of what they've seen others do. But big thinkers see differently. They see what could be, not just what is. They understand that creativity is the engine of opportunity, and dreaming boldly is the first step toward achieving the impossible. Consider the story of David, an inventor whose ideas often seemed outlandish to those around him. While his peers focused on safe, predictable projects, David asked questions that challenged conventional thinking. Why does it have to be this way? What if it could work differently? His willingness to question norms allowed him to uncover solutions others never imagined. His first successful invention didn't come from following instructions. It came from daring to think differently. Thinking creatively isn't just for artists or inventors. It's a mindset, a habit, and a discipline that anyone can cultivate. Start by asking, what if, questions. What if my business doubled its reach in 6 months? What if I could learn a new skill in half the time others take? What if my challenge wasn't a problem but an opportunity? These questions spark imagination and force your brain to explore possibilities beyond your current reality. Here's a subhook for reflection. When was the last time I let my imagination roam freely without constraints? If it's been a while, you've been limiting yourself without realizing it. Big thinkers intentionally schedule time to explore ideas, sketch visions, and play with possibilities. Their creativity becomes a habit, not an occasional spark. David also discovered the power of connecting ideas from different fields. He read widely, experimented boldly, and drew inspiration from unexpected sources. Creativity grows when you cross-pollinate knowledge, combining concepts others treat as unrelated. This is how innovation is born, by seeing connections where others see chaos. Another key principle: don't fear failure in the creative process. Many people hesitate to dream because they worry about judgment or rejection. David's early ideas were mocked, dismissed, and even stolen. But he learned that every failure was feedback, a guide to refine his thinking. Creativity thrives in an environment where mistakes are learning opportunities, not endpoints. Here's a practical step. Dedicate time each day to think creatively about your life and goals. Write down 5 wild ideas related to your career, relationships, finances, or personal growth. Don't judge them, just let your imagination flow. After a week, review your list and identify at least one idea that feels actionable. The small action you take could set off a chain reaction of opportunities. Subhook reflection: what if my next big success comes from a bold, unconventional idea I haven't dared to explore yet? Most people wait for permission, but big thinkers act first, refine later, and let momentum carry them forward. David's mindset also included dreaming beyond immediate limitations. He didn't just set short-term goals. He imagined the life he wanted decades into the future. By envisioning a larger reality, he created clarity in his present actions. This is a critical habit. Your long-term vision guides your short-term choices. Each small step aligns with a bigger picture, turning seemingly insignificant actions into powerful results. Creativity also requires courage. It's easy to think safely, to repeat what has worked for others. But the truly impactful ideas are risky, unconventional, and often misunderstood. Dreaming creatively means embracing uncertainty and persisting despite skepticism. David's breakthroughs didn't come from conformity, they came from daring to be different. Finally, remember this: creative thinking isn't a magical talent reserved for a few. It's a skill you can develop with practice, curiosity, and courage. Surround yourself with stimuli that challenge your assumptions, ask bold questions, and embrace failures as lessons. Every creative thought expands your possibilities and brings you closer to thinking and living big. Pause for reflection. What could I achieve if I allowed myself to think without limits for one full day? The answer is not theoretical. It's waiting in action. Big thinkers understand that the size of your dreams determines the size of your achievements. Dream boldly, act courageously, and let your imagination create a reality beyond what most people believe is possible. David's story reminds us, the world belongs to those who dare to imagine it differently. When you cultivate creative thinking, every obstacle becomes a puzzle, every challenge an opportunity, and every dream a seed for extraordinary achievement. Chapter 6. Take initiative and lead your life. Opportunities rarely knock politely. They seldom arrive with instructions or guarantees. Most people wait for permission, for guidance, or for circumstances to align perfectly before taking action. But big thinkers understand a simple truth: leaders create their own opportunities. Success favors those who act first, act decisively, and act boldly. Take the story of Jordan, a young manager at a mid-sized company who watched his colleagues wait for approval on every task. Meetings were long, decisions were delayed, and projects stagnated. Jordan decided he wouldn't wait for others to dictate his progress. Instead, he asked a simple question every day: what can I do today that moves me forward and adds value? That question transformed his approach and, eventually, his career. Initiative is not about doing everything yourself. It's about recognizing responsibility, seeing what needs to be done, and acting without being asked. Leaders step forward when others hesitate. They solve problems before they escalate. They identify opportunities before they are obvious. By doing so, they create influence, respect, and momentum. Here's a subhook to reflect on. What is one task, project, or challenge I've been waiting to be asked to handle, but could take charge of today? The answer may surprise you. Often, taking that first step signals capability and readiness in ways that no words can convey. Jordan began by tackling small problems others ignored. He streamlined processes, proposed new initiatives, and offered solutions without being prompted. At first, some colleagues were skeptical, even resentful. But over time, his consistent action spoke louder than doubt. Managers noticed. Opportunities appeared. And soon, Jordan found himself in leadership positions he had once thought out of reach. Another key principle: taking initiative requires confidence, but it is built through repeated action. Start with small steps. Volunteer for tasks others avoid. Speak up with solutions instead of complaints. Each act of initiative compounds, and before long, taking charge becomes a habit, not a risk. Ask yourself, where could I take the lead today without waiting for someone else's permission? Big thinkers don't wait for the perfect moment, they create it. They act decisively because they understand that action creates momentum, and momentum attracts results. Initiative also inspires others. People are drawn to those who act, who solve problems, and who show courage. By taking responsibility for your life, you not only advance your goals, you elevate those around you. Leadership, in essence, begins with personal initiative. You can't wait for others to lead your life for you. You are responsible for your vision, your progress, and your results. Jordan's experience illustrates another truth. Bold initiative often carries risk, and risk is necessary for growth. Mistakes will happen, and setbacks will occur. But those who act despite uncertainty build resilience and credibility. Fear diminishes when action becomes habitual, and confidence grows with each step taken. Here's a practical step. Identify one area of your life or work where you've been passive. Decide today how you will take initiative. Write down the first action and commit to completing it. Don't overthink. Action is the antidote to hesitation, and momentum is the reward. Initiative also amplifies creativity. When you take action, ideas transform into tangible results. Waiting leaves potential untapped. Jordan's bold actions led to projects that reshaped his company's strategy. Ideas became real because he acted, not because he dreamed. Pause for reflection. Am I waiting for permission, validation, or the perfect circumstances to act? If so, recognize that time is slipping away. Life rewards the doers, the ones who step forward first, the ones who take responsibility for their vision. The magic of thinking big is incomplete without action. Thinking and dreaming create potential, but initiative transforms potential into achievement. Leaders aren't born, they are made by consistently acting where others hesitate. Jordan's journey reminds us, your life, your success, and your dreams belong to you. Lead them. Take initiative. Step forward boldly. Every action you take today becomes the foundation of the extraordinary life you are building for tomorrow. Chapter 7. Develop a positive mindset and eliminate negativity. The world is full of people who focus on problems, setbacks, and excuses. They talk about what went wrong, what can't be done, and why life is unfair. Big thinkers, however, see things differently. They understand that your mindset shapes your reality. Your thoughts are the lens through which you interpret the world, and a positive mindset magnifies possibilities while negativity shrinks them. Take the story of Naomi, a young professional who struggled with self-doubt. Every setback felt catastrophic, every criticism a confirmation of her limitations. She realized her thinking had become a prison. Then she made a conscious choice. I will focus on solutions, not problems. I will see opportunities where others see obstacles. That simple shift changed everything. Negativity is contagious, and so is positivity. The people you surround yourself with, the media you consume, and even the internal dialogue in your own mind all influence your results. Naomi began filtering what she allowed into her life. She distanced herself from chronic complainers, limited exposure to negative news, and replaced doubt-filled thoughts with empowering statements. Slowly, her outlook transformed, and her results followed. Here's a subhook for reflection. What recurring negative thought has been holding me back, and how can I replace it with a positive, action-oriented belief today? Answer honestly. The mind is powerful, and changing your focus changes your life. Positive thinking doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. It means approaching obstacles with confidence, creativity, and resilience. Naomi faced setbacks, but instead of dwelling on failure, she asked, "What can I learn? How can I grow? What action can I take now?" Every positive thought reinforced her ability to persevere and thrive. Another critical principle: the mind follows the dominant thoughts you feed it. Worry, fear, and self-doubt attract stagnation. Optimism, gratitude, and confidence attract solutions, opportunities, and success. Naomi started each day with affirmations, visualization exercises, and journaling, practices that conditioned her mind for growth. Here's a practical step. Identify 3 negative patterns in your thinking, such as self-criticism, fear of failure, or blaming others. Replace each with a positive, constructive statement. For example, replace "I can't do this" with "I will find a way to make this work." Repeat these statements daily until they become your default mindset. Subhook reflection. How would my life change if I approached every challenge with the expectation of success rather than fear of failure? The answer is not abstract. It's a tangible shift in energy, action, and results. Big thinkers leverage this shift consistently. Naomi also discovered the importance of gratitude. Focusing on what is working in your life, no matter how small, reprograms your mind to notice possibilities instead of problems. Gratitude builds resilience, reduces stress, and fuels motivation. Even in difficult circumstances, a positive mindset uncovers opportunities others overlook. Negativity also comes from comparison. People measure themselves against others, feeling inadequate or envious. Naomi learned to focus on her journey, progress, and unique strengths. Big thinkers understand that your only competition is yourself, and your only goal is to improve, grow, and expand continuously. Here's another subhook. Which negative influences, people, habits, or thoughts can I eliminate or minimize today to create space for growth and positivity? Actionable choices in this area lead to exponential improvement. Naomi's transformation illustrates the power of mindset. Her focus on positivity, gratitude, and constructive thinking turned challenges into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, and ordinary days into progress-filled steps toward her dreams. Remember, your mind is the engine behind every achievement. Fuel it with positivity, eliminate negativity, and you create the conditions for thinking and living big. The life you envision begins with the thoughts you choose today. Chapter 8. Develop confidence and eliminate self-doubt. Confidence is not an inborn trait reserved for the fortunate few. It is a skill, a habit, and a mindset that can be cultivated by anyone willing to act, persist, and believe in themselves. Without confidence, even the greatest ideas remain dormant. With it, ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. Take the story of Ethan, a young professional who constantly underestimated his abilities. He would hesitate to speak up in meetings, avoid challenging projects, and settle for mediocrity. Deep down, he knew he was capable of more, but self-doubt clouded every decision. One day, he asked himself a simple but powerful question: what if I acted as if I were already confident? That question became a turning point. Confidence begins with action. Ethan started by taking small, deliberate steps outside his comfort zone. He volunteered to lead a minor project, shared his ideas during a team meeting, and took responsibility for outcomes he might have previously avoided. Each success, no matter how small, reinforced his belief in his own abilities. Momentum, once started, created a virtuous cycle. Action built confidence, and confidence fueled further action. Here's a subhook for reflection. What is one area of my life where self-doubt is holding me back, and what bold action can I take today to challenge it? The answer is your first step toward transformation. Another critical principle: your mind listens to your self-talk more than it does to anyone else. Ethan realized that negative inner dialogue, "I'm not ready," "I'll fail," "I'm not good enough," was sabotaging his potential. He began replacing doubt with affirmations and statements of capability. "I am capable. I am prepared. I can handle this challenge." Over time, his inner voice became a source of empowerment rather than limitation. Confidence also grows through preparation and knowledge. When Ethan faced tasks that intimidated him, he invested time in learning, practicing, and preparing. Knowledge reduces fear, and preparation transforms uncertainty into readiness. Big thinkers don't rely solely on talent. They rely on preparation, practice, and persistence. Here's a practical step. Identify a challenge you've been avoiding due to self-doubt. Break it into manageable parts and commit to taking one concrete action today. Even a small success will build momentum and chip away at the walls of insecurity. Subhook reflection: if I approached every challenge with the belief that I am capable, how would my actions and my results change? The answer is a roadmap to the confident version of yourself waiting to emerge. Ethan also discovered the importance of surrounding himself with supportive influences. People who believe in you, encourage you, and challenge you constructively accelerate confidence. Negative, critical, or discouraging voices, by contrast, erode belief. Big thinkers carefully curate their environment to reinforce possibility, courage, and growth. Another key point: confidence is not arrogance. It's grounded in capability, preparation, and action. Overconfidence leads to mistakes, but well-founded confidence enables decisive action, bold initiatives, and persistence in the face of challenges. Ethan learned to balance humility with assurance, taking risks while remaining adaptable. Ask yourself this: what would I attempt today if I knew I could not fail? Your answer reveals the areas where confidence is lacking and the opportunities waiting for bold action. Every step taken despite doubt strengthens your inner resolve and reinforces the belief that you are capable of more than you imagined. Ethan's journey illustrates a powerful truth: self-doubt is not permanent. Confidence can be nurtured, strengthened, and expanded through action, preparation, and positive self-talk. The moment you choose to act with belief in yourself, fear and hesitation lose their grip. Your potential unfolds. Remember, thinking big demands confidence. Doubt shrinks your vision, action and belief expand it. Cultivate confidence daily, take deliberate steps beyond your comfort zone, and watch as self-doubt diminishes and opportunity grows. Chapter 9. Handle criticism, setbacks, and rejection. Life doesn't hand out success on a silver platter. Every person who achieves greatness encounters criticism, rejection, and setbacks. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary lies not in avoiding these challenges, but in how you respond to them. Big thinkers see obstacles as lessons, not barriers, and setbacks as signals to adjust, not reasons to quit. Take the story of Samuel, an aspiring author who poured his heart into his first novel. When he submitted it to publishers, he received rejection after rejection. Some letters were polite refusals. Others were harsh, dismissive critiques. Most people would have given up, convinced they weren't good enough. But Samuel made a different choice. Every rejection is feedback, not a verdict, he told himself. That mindset changed everything. Criticism can sting, but it's often a mirror showing areas for growth. Samuel read each critique carefully, extracting lessons and ignoring unhelpful negativity. He revised his work, improved his style, and strengthened his storytelling. Each setback became a stepping stone, a chance to refine his craft and move closer to success. Here's a subhook to reflect on. When was the last time I let criticism stop me instead of teach me? Reframing challenges in this way is a hallmark of big thinkers. They learn faster, adapt quicker, and maintain momentum when others falter. Rejection is another inevitability. Samuel faced countless doors closed, but he refused to internalize them as a reflection of his worth. Instead, He reminded himself, if one path is blocked, another path exists. I will find it. Persistence transforms rejection from a wall into a detour toward opportunity. Setbacks often feel personal, but they are rarely about you. External circumstances, timing, or misunderstanding often play a role. Samuel realized this and stopped personalizing failures. He focused instead on what he could control: effort, improvement, and persistence. The energy wasted on resentment was redirected toward action, accelerating his progress. Here's a practical step. Identify one recent setback, criticism, or rejection you faced. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? What's my next action? Turning challenges into lessons transforms frustration into growth and strengthens resilience. Subhook reflection. What if the biggest obstacle I've faced is actually the hidden doorway to my greatest success? That's the perspective big thinkers embrace. Every challenge carries insight, and every failure contains the seeds of future achievement. Samuel also discovered the value of support networks. People who encourage, challenge, and provide honest feedback can help you navigate criticism and setbacks. Avoid dwelling on negativity or absorbing destructive opinions. Instead, seek constructive advice, apply it, and move forward with confidence. A key principle: persistence compounds. Most people give up after one or two setbacks. Big thinkers keep going, understanding that success is rarely immediate. Momentum builds gradually, fueled by resilience and a refusal to be derailed by temporary obstacles. Samuel's determination eventually paid off. His book was published, acclaimed, and widely read. His ability to handle criticism and rejection became a competitive advantage. Ask yourself, how would my life change if I treated every setback as a stepping stone instead of a stop sign? Your answer will determine whether obstacles define you or refine you. Remember, thinking big means expecting challenges, embracing feedback, and using setbacks as accelerators. Criticism is information, rejection is redirection, and perseverance is power. Samuel's journey teaches a timeless truth. Those who endure, adapt, and keep moving forward are the ones who achieve extraordinary results. The question for you today is simple. When life pushes back, will you shrink or rise? Will you quit or learn? Will you let criticism defeat you, or will you use it to fuel your next triumph? The answer is the measure of your potential and the foundation for thinking and living big. Chapter 10. Build lasting relationships and networks. No one achieves greatness alone. The people you surround yourself with, the networks you build, and the relationships you nurture have a profound impact on your success. Big thinkers understand that success is amplified when shared with others, and influence grows exponentially through meaningful connections. Consider the story of Isabella, a young entrepreneur who initially believed she had to do everything on her own. She worked tirelessly, but progress was slow, and opportunities felt limited. One day, she realized that her mindset was restricting her growth. I need to build relationships with people who inspire, challenge, and support me, she thought. That insight changed everything. Networking isn't about collecting contacts. It's about building genuine relationships. Isabella began reaching out to mentors, peers, and experts in her field. She offered value first, shared insights, and listened actively. Over time, her circle of influence expanded. Doors opened, opportunities appeared, and collaborations emerged. Relationships multiplied her impact. Here's a subhook to reflect on. Who in my life could I learn from or collaborate with to accelerate my growth? Your answer reveals untapped opportunities. Most people underestimate the power of influence and support. Big thinkers leverage networks strategically, combining their vision with the skills, resources, and perspectives of others. Another critical principle: give before you receive. Isabella offered her help, insights, and encouragement without expectation. Generosity builds trust, credibility, and loyalty. People are drawn to those who uplift others, and over time, these relationships become powerful catalysts for success. It's also essential to surround yourself with the right influences. Avoid negative, critical, or complacent individuals who dampen ambition. Instead, seek out people who challenge you, inspire you, and encourage you to think bigger. Environment shapes mindset. Isabella noticed that being in the company of high achievers naturally elevated her thinking and actions. Here's a practical step. Identify 3 individuals you admire or who could positively influence your growth. Reach out with genuine interest. Ask questions, share insights, or offer support. Even small gestures create meaningful connections that grow over time. Subhook reflection. If I invested time in strengthening my relationships this week, how could it transform my career, business, or personal life? Your answer is a blueprint for proactive networking and influence. Isabella also understood the importance of collaboration over competition. Many people see peers as rivals, but big thinkers see opportunities to learn, share, and grow together. Collaborative relationships generate innovation, creative solutions, and mutually beneficial outcomes. Another key insight: communication matters. Listening actively, speaking with clarity, and expressing appreciation strengthen bonds. Influence is not forced, it is earned through authenticity and consistency. Isabella's network became a source of opportunity, mentorship, and support because she invested in trust, respect, and mutual growth. Ask yourself, how can I become the kind of person who naturally attracts opportunities and support through relationships? Your actions, attitude, and generosity determine the strength of your network and the reach of your impact. Remember, thinking big is not just about personal ambition. It's about influence, collaboration, and shared success. Isabella's journey shows that when you cultivate relationships intentionally, align with inspiring individuals, and contribute value, doors open that would otherwise remain closed. The question to consider: am I leveraging the power of relationships to amplify my success, or am I trying to do everything alone? Your answer will determine whether your growth is limited or exponential. Build your network wisely, nurture meaningful connections, and watch how collaboration accelerates the realization of your dreams. Chapter 11: Persistence and the Power of Consistent Action. Dreaming big is only part of the journey. Ideas, vision, and even belief are meaningless without action. And not just any action, but persistent, consistent action over time. Success rarely comes from a single effort. It comes from repeated effort, compounded day after day. Big thinkers understand that persistence is the bridge between ambition and achievement. Take the story of Raphael, an aspiring inventor who struggled to bring his ideas to life. His early attempts failed repeatedly. Prototypes broke, investors hesitated, and peers doubted him. Most people would have quit. Raphael considered giving up countless times. But he remembered a simple principle: action, repeated consistently, will overcome obstacles. That mindset changed everything. Persistence is about refusing to quit despite difficulties. Raphael treated each failure as feedback, not a final verdict. Every setback became a lesson, a guide to improve and refine his approach. Small adjustments, taken repeatedly, gradually built momentum and led to breakthroughs. Here's a subhook to reflect on: what is one area of my life where I've given up too soon, and what small step can I take today to continue moving forward? The answer is the first act of reclaiming control over your results. Consistency compounds. Raphael didn't rely on bursts of effort. He created daily routines aligned with his goals. Whether it was improving his designs, networking, or marketing his ideas, he acted daily. These repeated actions, multiplied over months and years, produced results that seemed impossible at the outset. Another key principle: persistence builds confidence. Each small success validates your abilities and reinforces your commitment. Even when progress feels slow, the accumulation of consistent effort strengthens your resilience and determination. Big thinkers know that the race is long, and endurance often outweighs speed. Ask yourself, am I taking action consistently toward my goals, or am I waiting for perfect conditions or sudden inspiration? Consistent effort is the real differentiator between ordinary and extraordinary outcomes. Raphael's breakthrough didn't come from a lucky day. It came from 1,000 deliberate actions taken persistently over time. Persistence also requires a strong why. Knowing your purpose fuels determination when the journey feels daunting. Raphael reminded himself daily why he was pursuing his vision, because he believed in the impact of his invention, not just the rewards. Purpose transforms repetition into passion and challenges into opportunities. Here's a practical step. Create a daily action plan for your most important goal. Identify 1 or 2 tasks you will complete every day, no matter what. Treat them as non-negotiable. Even small steps, repeated consistently, generate unstoppable momentum. Subhook reflection. What would I achieve in 6 months if I never missed a single action toward my most important goal? The answer is the power of compounding effort. Every action, no matter how minor, contributes to your ultimate outcome. Persistence also means embracing patience. Results may not be immediate, and obstacles will appear. Raphael learned to celebrate progress rather than perfection, to adjust without abandoning his vision, and to remain committed even when recognition or reward was delayed. Ask yourself, am I willing to keep moving forward, even when progress is invisible? The difference between quitting and winning is often invisible perseverance, continuing when no one else is watching. Raphael's journey illustrates a timeless truth. Consistent action and persistence turn ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Thinking big is not enough. Acting boldly, daily, and persistently is what transforms potential into achievement. Remember, success compounds like interest in a bank account. Each deliberate action adds up, and over time, momentum becomes unstoppable. The magic of thinking big comes alive when persistence meets purpose. Take action today, repeat it tomorrow, and trust that your cumulative effort will carry you to heights you once thought impossible. Chapter 12. Maintain focus and avoid distractions. One of the biggest challenges in achieving big goals is staying focused. The world is full of distractions. Social media, endless notifications, competing priorities, and people who unintentionally drain your energy. Big thinkers understand that focus is a superpower. Without it, effort is wasted, momentum stalls, and potential remains unrealized. Consider the story of Olivia, a rising professional with ambitious goals. She started each day full of energy and ideas, but by midday, she often found herself caught in trivial tasks or responding to unimportant messages. Progress toward her vision slowed. One day, she asked herself a simple but powerful question: what actions today truly move me closer to my biggest goals? That question shifted everything. Focus begins with clarity. Identify the few actions that produce the most significant results. Olivia made a list of her top priorities each morning, labeling them as high impact versus low impact. She committed to tackling the high impact tasks first, ignoring less important distractions until her vision-critical work was complete. Here's a subhook for reflection. Which activities or habits consume my time but contribute little to my goals? Awareness is the first step in regaining control. Most people drift, reacting to what is urgent rather than pursuing what is important. Big thinkers act intentionally, protecting their time like the valuable resource it is. Another principle: set boundaries. Olivia learned to say no to requests, interruptions, and commitments that didn't align with her priorities. Saying no is not selfish, it's strategic. Every no to distraction is a yes to your vision. Protecting your focus multiplies your effectiveness and accelerates achievement. Here's a practical step. Choose your top 3 priorities for the week and schedule focused blocks of time for each. During these periods, eliminate distractions, silence notifications, close unrelated tabs, and commit fully to the task. Small adjustments in focus create massive gains over time. Subhook reflection. What could I accomplish in a month if I eliminated distractions and focused exclusively on high-impact actions? The answer demonstrates the exponential power of concentration. Big thinkers guard their attention because it is the most valuable resource they possess. Olivia also realized the importance of mental discipline. Every time her mind wandered or she felt tempted by distractions, she gently redirected her focus back to the task at hand. Over time, this habit strengthened her ability to concentrate, even in challenging environments. Focus became automatic, and productivity soared. Another key insight: clarity of vision fuels sustained focus. When you are deeply connected to your why, distractions lose their grip. Olivia visualized her goals daily, reminding herself why her efforts mattered. This emotional connection made it easier to prioritize, resist temptations, and persist when motivation fluctuated. Ask yourself, am I allowing distractions to dictate my results, or am I controlling my attention to serve my vision? The answer will reveal whether you are drifting or steering toward extraordinary success. Focus also magnifies creativity and problem-solving. When your mind is engaged deeply, patterns emerge, insights surface, and solutions appear more readily. By eliminating unnecessary noise, Olivia's ability to innovate and act decisively grew exponentially. Remember, thinking big is only effective when paired with concentrated action. Every distraction avoided, every moment intentionally directed toward meaningful work, compounds into extraordinary results. Protect your focus. Guard your attention. Your dreams deserve nothing less. Chapter 13. Integrate principles and create a life of achievement. All the strategies, mindsets, and habits we've explored, belief, courage, goals, creativity, initiative, positivity, confidence, persistence, relationships, and focus, are not separate tools. They are pieces of a single puzzle. To live extraordinarily, you must integrate them into a coherent, daily practice. Big thinking isn't occasional. It's a lifestyle, a lens through which every choice, action, and thought is filtered. Take the story of Marcus and Olivia, two individuals who each learned different lessons from previous chapters. Marcus had mastered belief and initiative, but struggled with focus and persistence. Olivia had clarity of priorities, but hesitated to take bold action. Both realized that knowledge alone wasn't enough. Transformation required consistent application, day after day, across every area of life. Integration begins with reflection. Review your life honestly. Where are you thinking small? Where is fear dictating your actions? Where are distractions diluting your energy? Identify gaps between your current reality and the life you imagine. Awareness is the first step toward alignment. Here's a subhook for reflection. Which one principle, if applied consistently today, would have the greatest impact on my life? Start there. Small, intentional actions compound into massive change when practiced consistently over time. Another key principle: alignment of habits, goals, and mindset. Marcus began scheduling his days with intention, linking habits directly to his goals. Olivia committed to actions that reinforced her creative ideas and relationships. Both noticed something remarkable: the more consistent their practices, the less resistance they felt. Success became a natural byproduct of alignment, not an uphill struggle. Integration also means creating routines that reinforce big thinking automatically. Morning rituals of visualization, affirmations, and prioritization set the tone. Daily actions toward meaningful goals build momentum. Evening reflection consolidates learning and prepares for the next day. Marcus and Olivia both realized that their extraordinary achievements were not luck, they were the sum of repeated, aligned actions. Here's a practical step. Write down the top 3 principles from this audiobook that resonate most with you. For each, identify one daily action to apply immediately. Then, commit to practicing them consistently for 30 days. Small, deliberate steps create a foundation for exponential growth. Subhook reflection. If I fully integrated these principles into my life, what would I achieve in the next year? In 5 years? Big thinkers answer boldly, dream without hesitation, and act without waiting for perfect conditions. Another critical insight. Integration requires resilience and flexibility. Life will throw unexpected challenges, and your plans may falter. Marcus and Olivia learned to adjust without abandoning their vision. They treated obstacles as temporary tests, not permanent barriers. Integration is not rigid, it's dynamic, adaptive, and persistent. Big thinking also demands a sense of contribution. Success is amplified when your achievements benefit others. Whether through mentorship, collaboration, or creating value in your community, integrating big thinking into life means pursuing personal excellence while elevating those around you. Marcus and Olivia both discovered that influence multiplies impact, and leadership grows naturally from consistent excellence. Finally, remember this: the life you imagine is attainable, but only if your thoughts, actions, and habits consistently reinforce it. Integration is the key that transforms knowledge into results, ideas into achievements, and potential into reality. Thinking big is a choice, repeated daily. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary lies in alignment, the seamless integration of mindset, habits, focus, and action. Pause for reflection. Am I ready to commit fully to living this way, today, without hesitation or excuses? The answer determines whether your dreams remain distant or become your reality. Marcus and Olivia's journeys illustrate a timeless truth. Success is not a single moment of brilliance. It is the cumulative effect of belief, courage, action, focus, persistence, relationships, and mindset practiced daily. When you integrate these principles, your life transforms. Ordinary becomes extraordinary. Challenges become opportunities. Dreams become achievements. The magic of thinking big is now in your hands. The choice is yours. Act consistently, think boldly, and live intentionally. Everything you desire, success, influence, fulfillment, impact, awaits you on the path you create today.